Hey guys, a warm welcome back to the channel. Now an opportunity has arisen for me to add another prancing horse to the stable, to the rat cave. However, that is not so simple. It means that I'm going to have to sell one of the other cars, and that in itself is a little bit problematic. So the opportunity we have is to buy back the Challenge Stradale chassis, this lovely car, and all of the running gear that comes off the 360 Spider that we're using to create the Challenge Stradale Spider. You guys didn't think that I would fully sacrifice one of these cars. No. Can't possibly do that. And part of the deal was I will build the car for my close friend, but I will be buying this one back and then we'll save it over time. So it's such a great opportunity. Obviously, this is one of my favourite cars and I will be saving it, don't worry. So it means one of the other cars needs to go, but which one is it? And it's not such an easy decision to make. Let's go and have a look. Okay, so let's just have a quick coffee walk and I'll give you a garage update. So Ferrari 360, well, that one's just come back on the road after doing the clutch video on it. And we've got a few more things to do on this. We've got the front brakes. The pistons are seized a little bit. That's a known problem on carbon ceramics, and we're going to be doing a clean-up on that. But this is my baby. This one really can't go anywhere. Ferrari 456, well, potentially that one could go. We do have quite a few jobs still to do on this car. The lever is all shrunk there. We've got some work to do on the interior, a little bit of suspension problems on this, some electrical issues, and it's overheating, which I think is the water pump, plus it needs a service, so that's got quite a bit of work to have done on it before I could sell it, so not sure about that. Plus I also keep parking there on the road and see it at different angles, and I really like this car, so not sure. This is the reveal on the car. This is the Spider for the Stradale project. That's just arrived, so obviously that can't be sold. Then we have a very buried Testarossa. Well, unfortunately that's got all of my BBI parts on it, and if I'm honest, the Rattarossa created the channel, so it really can't go anywhere. So we need to look at something else, and well, I have a couple of other options, so let's go and have a look at those. Well, it's obviously not going to be the Boxer. This is in no fit state to move anywhere at the moment, and well, I'm not going to be getting rid of this one. So which car is it going to be? Well, let's go and have a look at a couple of my other choices. So we are back where the channel really started, here on my sister's single driveway and on a 308. Not the 308, we started, that was the black 308, which still isn't finished. Anyway, we're on this grey one. We've got wind here, we've got all of the noises. When the channel started, the sound quality was not great, and well, to be honest, today we've got construction, we've got trains going around the back, and we've got aeroplanes and a lot of wind noise down here, but I do have this mic, so hopefully it's a little bit better. Anyway, we are going to be working on this one. This is the car that's going to go. I really do like this car, would love to keep it. It's a really great 308. Like I say, very rare colours, grey up top, black down the bottom, just classic, no changes to this car, very original, apart from the Targa roof panel. There's the train. That's been colour coded to the body, which really looks nice on this one. And what else on this? That's it, I think. So we are going to try and do this. Now, what I really love about this, it's got a really, really cool story behind it, which I'll come to later on. But the other fact is, this is going to be 40 years old in January, which means it is going to be an extremely cheap car to run. It will be MOT free, so you won't have to do that every year. It will be tax free, so you won't have to pay for road tax, and it will be cheap classic car insurance. So it's going to be a great buy for somebody, and I kind of will regret selling this one, but we need to make room for new projects. Anyway, this has a few little issues that we are going to address today. Let me show you what's happening. A question I'm often asked by you guys is, how do I do this? How do I know what I'm doing? Was my background in automotive? Did Ferrari train me how to do this? And the answer is no. Prior to doing this, I was in IT for many years, and the same as everybody else, I would just tinker with my cars at weekends. But the passion for these cars, the will to keep learning new skills is what drove me, and it's what changed my life. And it's places like today's video sponsor, Skillshare, that really help with things like that. For example, a YouTube channel is not just simply fixing cars. You need to be able to film it, you need to be able to take the pictures, you need to put all that together, edit it all, and create that whole video to share. And let me show you how Skillshare really helped me to create this channel. So we're on Skillshare, and there are courses for absolutely everything on here, but I've narrowed down my search to film to brush up on some skills, and there are a couple of courses that have caught my eye straight away. First of all is the Introduction to Aerial Video Photography, Creative Direction for Drone Filming. That's by Wild Rabbit Productions, and I've added that to my watch later. That's the saved class, so I'm going to come back and do that one. But the other one that I really like is this one here, GoPro Hero 9. Now, a lot of my content is filmed on my GoPro, and this is a masterclass for beginners to filmmakers. The courses are really easy. They're broken down into lessons. This one is 20 lessons, and in total it's just over an hour long. Each of the lessons are a few minutes long, and we've got everything from the setting up your GoPro all the way through to handy things like the Hero 8 versus the Hero 9. Now, I was using an 8 before, so it's really good to know the comparison and what I'm gaining using a 9. Josh, the instructor, is really good. He's very clear, he's very concise, and he has got some amazing tips there. Now, what I love about Skillshare is it's not like you're back at school being forced to learn subjects you have no care for. These are topics you really want to expand your knowledge with, your skills with, and have some fun. And who knows, create a crazy YouTube channel in the process. Anyway guys, if you want to explore your creativity, click on the link below. The first 1,000 people who use my link will get a free 1 month's trial with Skillshare. So it's a no-brainer. Anyway, I've got to say a big thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video and continuing to support the channel. It's stuck in the driveway at the moment because it's not running, so that is our first job, to try and figure out what's going on. It's not starting up at the moment. I've had a quick look at some of the stuff at the back, some of the obvious stuff, so we are going to start by just seeing what's going on here. So we got several problems with the car. The first one I've already rectified, and that was the fact that we were getting no fuel up until the metering unit here. So I traced it all the way back, and basically there's various tests you can do. You can take off this switch down here, you can press the kind of float on the metering unit, and it should fire up the fuel relay. That was all happening, but I was getting no fuel, so our fuel pump was actually faulty. That is the old fuel pump that came out of the car. I've already put a brand new one in. That's down the bottom there. That's a new Bosch one. So we have fixed one problem. I am getting no spark on either bank, and that has changed slightly. I was getting a very weak spark on the back bank here, and lately I'm getting nothing at all, so the car will not fire. Now, before we go checking around in the back of the car, we're going to check one of the most problematic areas on these 80s era Ferraris, and that is with the fuse boards here and the relay board. Now, I've run through everything and I can't see any issues here. Someone has actually created an upgrade to upgrade these old style fuse boards, and it's much better. However, everything I've checked on here seems to be okay. I've removed them, I've checked all of the little connector blocks, all of the fuses, and it all seems to be working. We've powered them up, I've checked the voltage. Same thing with the fuses here, sorry, the relays. I've removed them, changed them around to known working relays, and everything seems to be functioning as it should do. So for the time being, I'm going to rule that out. I've also got another plan here. So we've got the 82 GTSI, which is this car. We've also got the QV, and I think when you're fault finding this many problems, it's quite handy to actually have a second car here. Now, they're very similar. There are some differences with the relay setup on these cars, but the fuses are all exactly the same. So I'm going to go and get my QV as well, and that should give me a fighting chance to hopefully fix this car. Woo! 308s, you can just throw these babies around, it's great. We've got a bit of a backfire there. Probably spitting a few flames. My nephew's going to be happy with that. She sounds good, man! Upgrade the brakes, I think. If we keep this one, this could be good. So it is really handy when you're tracing problems like this to have a spare car. Now if you look at the black car, you would think this is the one that doesn't work, but this fires up first time every time, and we have been using this to change over parts. So the plan is we're going to start by fault finding this and tracing it back. So we're going to start at the plugs. Now if I take one of these, what we have here is just a spark plug light, and all I do is I plug this extender into that, put that in there, put that in there, and what you'll see, if it's working okay, is when I turn the car over, this will flash. The other way of doing a similar test without the light is you just ground out, you put a plug in the end here, like this, you ground it, and so when it comes through, when you start turning it over, you will see the plug just start to fire. So we're going to try that on this bank just to show you the difference. And as you can see, we're getting no spark at all. So we need to dig a bit further and go a little bit further back. So if you trace it back, we run from the spark plug. We're going to then check the wires and the two distributor caps for both banks. Now the reason I'm going for this as well, because they are individual, it's unlikely both of them have gone wrong, but I do know that the front one over there is potentially faulty. Now the reason is the HT lead here that comes from our coil packs that goes to the middle of the distributor cap, it looks a bit chewed up. I had to chop it and shorten it, but there is an issue. So let me take that off. I've got a new one. We're going to just make sure that that is good, and we're also going to replace the spark plug wires as well. Okay, so we've got a delivery from my guys at C Performance, and what goodies have we got here? We have got a full new set of leads. I'll explain why. I've also got a distributor cap for the same reason. One of these extenders for my plugs is broken. I've got a cap missing, so it will let water in, so we're replacing that. And we've also got the little arm there as well. I've got some spare fuses because I've gone through a few of those, and new wiper blades. So let me show you why the main thing is these. And that is because this is our distributor cap for the back here, which I've removed. And what you can see is the main one was this. This was my HT lead. It looks a little bit rough. It's been cut down, and the reason is this is the HT feed here. Now the problem is the cap is all good, but in order to change that, because I could have done that on its own, we've got a little screw down there, same as these. As you can see, these are new, but that one is all rounded off, so there's no way of getting it out, so I couldn't just change that lead and keep the cap. So we've got a new cap. We're going to install that and see if that makes any difference. One note, make sure you put the rubber boot on before you bolt it all up, otherwise it is a right pain because you have to undo it all and do it again. Trust me, I've just done it. Anyway, we are just about to put it all back on now. I've changed the arm, and we're just going to put it in place and see if it makes any difference. So I've installed the new distributor cap and the new spark plug wires, and well, it's made no difference. I wasn't surprised with that one because, like I say, we had both banks out, so it should be something common to both, but there was a reason I changed those. It did look very worn, and also we had a weak spark on this one. We never had a spark on that bank, and I was correct because when I've taken the cap and the leads from the faulty bank and put them on the QV, very handy to have another Ferrari 308 here. Again, they didn't work. I put the other set on from the back bank, it worked, and vice versa. I put a set from this car on the GTSI and it made no difference at all. So we knew that wasn't our problem. So now we're going to fault find back a bit further. We're going to look from our distributor caps, we run to the coil packs. So this is an HT lead. It's the other type, so you will plug it in one end into the coil pack, and the other end would be a kind of plug and unplug kind of cap type like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in here and just see if we've got any voltage coming through that with the ignition on. turn that there, and we should get something coming through. So if we earth that there, and then come around here, touch that, there we go. So we've got 12 volts coming through it. Doesn't prove everything is right with it, but we know something is flowing at least, so we should be going to our distributor caps. Now again, it's highly unlikely that both of my coils that work independently are faulty, and the other thing really here that I'm going to be checking before we go into anything else is all of this wiring is correct and hasn't been messed around with. Now I haven't touched it, but just to be careful and cautious, I'm going to check the wiring diagram. Let's put that back on there. Okay, I'm not sure how well you can see this with the screen on the glare here, but on my iPad I have a very cool wiring diagram, but this is actually for the 83 QV. It's a very similar setup, and I can't see any differences having the 83 QV and the 82 GTSI, and looking at all the wiring, everything looks exactly the same so far. So we're going to use this as kind of being as a reference point. Now if I come down here, this is the two coils. And if I look at the wiring, trace it back, so I've got yellow, yellow, green, green, yellow, yellow. That one runs from that coil to that one. And then I've got two yellow and blacks. And if we trace that back to the car, come out here, have a look in there. Yellow and black over here, two yellows, one wires from the other coil, yellow here, and two greens. So everything is wired correctly. Next job is I'm going to test the actual coils. Now the easiest way for me to do this is I have a working 308 here, so we're going to plug the coils into this one. They're exactly the same coils, and vice versa, and just eliminate having two faulty coil packs. Okay, coils are verified and I've checked them in the QV. They're all working fine, vice versa. I've put the QV ones in here. No issues at all. So we need to go back from here, here, here. We know it's all good. So we're going to trace it back. It is potentially going to be in the wiring, or we still can't fully rule out the fuse board and everything in the cabin now, or everything running from the cabin to the back here. Now, the next part we need to look at is something that is common to both of these. Now, on the side of our casing down here, we have three sensors. We have an RPM sensor and a crank sensor for 1 to 4 and 5 to 8 down the bottom. So we're going to take the wheel off and have a look at those. Now, the RPM sensor is really the only one that is going to affect both banks. So that happens to be the most easy one, which is on this side. So we come to our wiring diagram again. Here's our two coils. Now if you look at these three sensors, so we have our tach sensor, our TDC sensor for 1 to 4, TDC 5 to 8. If we trace that all the way back, they go to this junction, which I'll show you in a minute on the car, and then they all basically come back, and most of them go into this connector here, which is the electronic ignitions. I'll show you those on the car now. So our cables run from this one kind of wiring loom here. Sorry, not that one, it's this one here. This one wiring loom runs all of those three sensors down here, so 2 at the front, 1 at the back. And we have a connector block down here, so we're going to remove the wheel arch, and trace that back and just check all the continuity on everything there. So if we come down and we look over here, so on the side of the bell housing here, we've got 3 sensors. So this one at the back is our RPM, so our tach sensor. That is the one that is common to both. Then we got one over here somewhere and one down the bottom, which is the 5 to 8, 1 to 4. Those ones are slightly more difficult to get to. This one, taking the wheel arch liner out, is nice and easy. So what I'm doing is I've actually got 3 sensors. They're all exactly the same. I've got 3 brand new ones because the old ones on here are really old, and so we are going to change them for some new ones.
So we've removed
the crank sensor, as you can see, is filthy. If I compare it to this new one, you can see just that little metal part there in the middle. This one, you can't see anything, so just give it a clean up. There we go. Now, the other problem I've got here is I've got these crank sensors that are from Ferrari. Let me show you what's happened. Crank sensor, good. Connector, completely different types, and all three on here are this type. Yeah, these are the ones listed from Ferrari. So that is a little bit strange. Need to do a bit of investigation. Anyway, I'm going to clean this up as I have, put it back in and see what happens. But you can see, listen to this. This is the casing. It's just brittle. So how old is this thing? Who knows? After doing some investigation, it appears Ferrari changed the sensor connection design back in the early 80s, so it makes all three of my sensors original to the car. So what I've decided to do, rather than modify all three of those individually, because if one of those fails in future, you're going to be faced with the same problem, I'm actually going to update the small loom. So we've got a loom here that plugs from the main loom simply to those three sensors, so it's a separate little loom, and it makes far more sense to just modify that. So what I've done is I've bought 4 of the new type of connector for £8 from eBay, come with everything, so we're just gonna quickly update that now and fit those. Okay, we have changed the RPM sensor, so we're gonna just test to see if that's made any difference. To do that, I'm gonna film at the back, and I have my helper, my mum. Say hi, Mum.
Hi.
She's going to turn the 308 over. Now, we've got no seats in here, so Mum's got a very nice, cosy cushion. Right, Mum, you turn it over. I'm going to see if we've got spark. Go for it. Just keep turning it over, Mum. Okay. So we got spark. I'm going to test the other bank with Mum as well, but that is spark, as you can see from the front bank over there. So we'll test the back bank. But it looks like we have definitely fixed that first problem. Okay, we have got spark, so let's see if we have fixed this thing. Fuel relay in. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Nothing. Let's try again. Try again. Well guys, there you go. The 308 has technically beaten me today. The issue being we've got more than one fault on this, but we're gradually narrowing it down. If you guys have got any suggestions, please do put them in the comments below. I read them all and it really does help. Anyway, I'm going to go away, have a little think about this one. We've got a lot of work to do on this car, so we're going to get it running, then we're going to do a full service, we're going to do the cam belts on it, then we're going to give it a really good clean up, and then it's going to be finally ready for sale. It's going to be a lovely car. Anyway guys, don't forget, you can check out what I get up to on a daily basis over on my Instagram account. Until the next time, stay safe. Ciao for now.